You were perfect, Nia. Poor, black, desperate.
Stop talking!
She killed him 3 times. Once for each year he'd stolen. The gun was still warm in Nia's hand when Ji-hoon walked through the door. Blood pooled beneath Damon's body, spreading across their old apartment floor like spilled wine. Red on cheap linoleum. Nothing like the marble she used to clean. You didn't wait for me, Ji-hoon said. Not angry. Almost proud. I didn't need to. 3 months earlier, she'd been invisible. The kind of invisible that only black women in Seoul understood, hypervisible and completely unseen at once. It was 3 a.m. when she found the blood in Ji-hoon's penthouse. It had marble floors and glass walls overlooking a city that glittered like broken promises. Nia scrubbed in silence, on her knees, pink-tinged water running between her fingers. She'd learned not to ask whose blood it was. You missed a spot. She jerked up. Ji-hoon stood in the shadows near the window in an expensive suit without a single wrinkle. He had dark eyes that saw everything she tried to hide, including the bandage on her cheek. He moved closer. Silent as smoke. What happened to your face? The lie came automatically. I fell. Silence stretched like wire pulled too tight. He studied her the way jewelers study diamonds, looking for flaws, cracks, what hides beneath the surface. You fell. Testing how the lie tasted. And yesterday? That bruise on your wrist? I'm clumsy. No. He crouched beside her. Close enough she smelled expensive cologne. You're careful. I've watched you work for 8 months. You don't make mistakes. Her hands shook. Soapy water dripped from trembling fingers. He pulled an envelope from his jacket and set it on the floor between them. 500,000 won. Take tomorrow off. Get that cheek properly looked at. I can't accept this. It's not a gift. It's an order. He stood and walked away. Then, paused at the hallway. And Nia? Next time he touches you, you tell me his name. The envelope stayed on the floor long after he disappeared. Because Ji-hoon already knew the name. In his office, Tae-sung delivered the intel with a folder thick as a Bible. Detective Damon Park. KNPD Organized Crime Unit. Korean American. 32. Living with one Nia Okonkwo, Nigerian national, visa complications, works as your maid. Ji-hoon flipped through surveillance photos. Damon leaving their apartment. Damon at the precinct. Damon's hand gripping Nia's arm hard enough to leave marks. The penthouse is bugged, Tae-sung continued. It has been 6 months. He planted them through her. She has no idea. She's bait. Yes, boss. And he's using her because she's desperate and vulnerable. The perfect victim. Tae-sung shifted uncomfortably. She's also black. Makes her even more isolated. No community here. No one to ask questions. Ji-hoon's jaw tightened. He knew that isolation. His Filipino mother had lived it and died in it. Promote her, he said quietly. Make her my personal assistant. She lives here now. Full-time. Boss, that's. She's not just bait anymore. Ji-hoon closed the folder. She's mine. And I protect what's mine. Nia's apartment was small and cramped. The kind of place where every fight echoed off thin walls and neighbors learned not to call the police. She stood at the bathroom mirror, peeling the bandage off, the bruise blooming beneath. His ring had split the skin. Damon appeared in the doorway. Still in his police uniform. Badge gleaming, gun on his hip. To anyone else, he was a hero. He provided protection and safety. Nia saw the tightness around his mouth. Why is there a promotion letter from Park Ji-hoon on our table? Ice flooded her veins. I didn't ask for it. His hand shot out and grabbed her throat. Not choking. Just holding to remind her that he could. Personal assistant? He asked softly but deadly. Living in his penthouse? Damon, please. He shoved her against the sink. Her hip hit porcelain hard enough to bruise. Do you know how long I've been working on this case? 8 months. 8 months getting nothing. And now? His smile was wicked. Now you're moving in with him. Understanding crashed over her like cold water. You knew, she whispered. You knew who I was working for. Baby. He cupped her face where the bruise was. Almost gentle. I'm a detective. I know everything. Including how to use a desperate immigrant who'll do anything to stay in my country. Her voice came out broken. You said you loved me. I needed you to be controllable. Love worked. He kissed her forehead like a blessing. Pack your things. You start tomorrow. And Nia? You're going to help me put him away. Or I'll have immigration pick you up before sunset. He left her shaking in their bathroom. She'd spent 2 years believing she owed him everything. 2 years never realizing she'd been his operation from day one. Ji-hoon's penthouse occupied 3 floors of Seoul's most expensive building. The elevator opened to Tae-sung waiting. He looked Nia up and down like something stuck to a shoe. Help uses the service entrance. She's not the help. Ji-hoon appeared from a hallway. She's my personal assistant. Show her to the east wing. Tae-sung's jaw tightened. Boss. Now. He'd uttered one word with enough weight to end any argument. Nia followed through rooms that looked like magazine spreads. Everything white and chrome and untouched. Like no one actually lived here. They passed another maid, Korean, middle-aged. She glanced at Nia, then away quickly. But not before Nia saw the look. That particular expression she'd seen 1,000 times. What's she doing here? Tae-sung stopped at a door. Your room. Don't touch what you're not supposed to. Don't go where you're not invited. He leaned close. And don't think being exotic makes you special. You're here because the boss has a use for you. That's all black girls are good for anyway. The door closed in her face. Nia stood alone in a room bigger than her entire apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline. A bed that probably cost more than her yearly salary. And on the nightstand, her breath caught. A book. Half of a Yellow Sun, by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. She'd never told anyone she was Nigerian. Not Damon. Not the other maids. She'd learned to keep her head down and stay invisible. But somehow, Ji-hoon knew. Somehow, he'd seen her. If you're hooked, smash that subscribe button. Comment below, would you trust the Mafia boss or the cop? 5 days in Ji-hoon's penthouse taught Nia that kindness could be cruel. He didn't demand or ask questions. He didn't touch her. He just existed in the same space, noticing everything. How she only ate vegetables because Damon said carbs made her too thick. How she flinched when doors slammed. How she never looked at her reflection in the glass walls. He adjusted without comment. Balanced meals appeared in her room. Doors in her wing closed softly. And during meetings where men in expensive suits discussed shipments and territories, Ji-hoon would glance at her. Silent check-in. You okay? She didn't know what to do with care. My mother was Filipino. Nia jumped and spun around. Ji-hoon stood in her doorway. She hadn't heard him approach. He nodded at the Nigerian novel in her hands. Seoul wasn't kind to her. His voice was quiet and matter-of-fact. Mixed-race kid. Foreign mother. We were invisible. Or we were too visible. Nothing in between. I'm sorry. Don't be. It taught me something useful. He met her eyes. The world sees what it wants. Sometimes that's all it sees. So you make them see what you want them to see. Or you make them see nothing at all. He left before she could respond. Her phone buzzed. It was Damon. What have you learned? Send photos of his office, his files, everything. Hands shaking, she typed, he barely talks. I haven't seen anything. Try harder, baby. Or should I remind you what happens when you disappoint me? She deleted his message. Then deleted it from deleted messages. Like erasing him could make him disappear. Ji-hoon's crew came on Thursday night. 8 men in designer clothes with dead eyes. Violence wrapped in respectability. Nia served drinks and played invisible. Her superpower. Boss got himself a pet. Lieutenant Sung-ho grinned at her. Scar bisecting his eyebrow. Didn't know you liked exotic. What's next, a monkey? The room went silent. Nia's face burned. She kept her eyes down, reaching for empty glasses. Ji-hoon's hand moved faster than light. He grabbed Sung-ho's fingers and bent 3 backward with audible crack. Sung-ho's scream shattered the silence in the room. She's under my protection. Ji-hoon's voice never rose or changed temperature. He released the mangled hand. Test it again. Please. I'd enjoy the excuse. No one moved or breathed. Another crew member, a younger, Japanese man with tattoos visible at his collar, muttered something in Korean. Nia caught one word. Kemduji. Her Korean was basic, but she knew that one. Blackie. Said with that particular sneer. Ji-hoon turned. A gun appeared in his hand, pressed against the man's temple. Apologize to her. In English. So she understands every word. Boss, I didn't mean. Now. The man turned to Nia, face white. I apologize. I was disrespectful. Accepted, Nia whispered. Ji-hoon lowered the gun. Does anyone else have comments about my staff? Silence. Good. Nia, you can leave. She ran. In her room, she pressed her back against the door. Heart hammering and mind spinning. A monster just defended her. A man who put guns to heads broke bones over her dignity. What was she supposed to do with that? There was a soft knock on her door. She opened expecting Ji-hoon. Tae-sung stood there, expression unreadable. Walk with me. It was not a request. They went to the balcony. Seoul spread beneath them, millions of lights, millions of lives, none of them caring what happened in towers like this. You want to know why he really hired you? Nia's stomach dropped. Tae-sung lit a cigarette but didn't offer her one. He knows your boyfriend is a cop. Detective Damon Park, KNPD organized crime. Known since day one. The world tilted. You're bait. Damon thinks he's using you. The boss is using both of you. Classic double blind. Tae-sung blew smoke into the cold air. Welcome to the game. Nia's head spun. Why are you telling me this? Because you're getting confused and thinking his protection means affection. He flicked ash over the railing. It doesn't. You're a tool. A pretty tool, but still just a tool. Don't forget what you are. He left her there. Alone with souls in different lights and the truth crushing her chest. She found Ji-hoon in his office at midnight. He was reading through contracts, a single lamp casting shadows across his face. You knew? She asked cautiously. About Damon. Everything. He set down his pen and met her eyes directly. Yes. And hired me anyway to use me as bait. Yes. There was no hesitation or apology in his tone. He leaned forward. But ask yourself something. Why does a cop who claims to love you let you clean blood at 3 a.m.? Why does he need you poor and desperate? Why does he hit you, then convince you it's your fault? The question hit like a fist to her stomach. He saved me from deportation. Did he? Ji-hoon pulled out a file and slid it across the desk. Or did he create the problem first? She opened it with trembling hands and saw her immigration documents and her deportation notice from 2 years ago. The one that started everything. Requesting officer signature at bottom, Detective D. Park. The papers slipped from her fingers. He triggered the investigation, Ji-hoon said quietly. Then showed up like a hero and made you grateful. He made you owe him and made you controllable. No. No, he wouldn't. He targeted you specifically. Beautiful black immigrant. Visa problems. Working for me. You were perfect for a long-term operation. And you were isolated enough that no one would ask questions. Nia's legs gave out. She collapsed into the chair. I'm using you, Ji-hoon continued. Voice steady, almost gentle. I won't lie about that. But I'm not the only one. And at least I'm honest about what I am. He's the hero who lies. I'm the monster who tells the truth. Choose your poison. She sat there, drowning in a truth she'd refused to see for 2 years. What do I do? Whatever you choose. But choose for yourself. Not for him. Not for me. For you. For the first time in 2 years, someone meant those words. Damon came 3 days later, unannounced. He walked past security like he owned the place and found Nia in the kitchen. He grabbed her wrist, the same one he'd bruised last week, and yanked her close. You've been avoiding my calls. I'm working. She lives here now. Ji-hoon's voice cut through the kitchen like a blade. He stood in the doorway, perfectly still and calm. You need an appointment. Damon turned. Still gripping Nia. This is police business. This is my home. Ji-hoon's hand moved to his side, where he kept his gun. Touch her again. Please. The air crackled with violence about to happen. Damon released her and smiled smugly. Nia, baby. Let's talk outside. She stays. Something in Nia snapped. It had been 2 years being pulled between men who treated her like property. 2 years being afraid and small. Being grateful for scraps of human decency. She was so tired. Get out, she whispered. Damon blinked, dazed. What? Get out. It was louder and stronger now. I'll call you later. Leave. His face went cold. You're going to regret this. Ji-hoon moved smoothly. He was suddenly between them, gun visible but not raised. The lady asked you to leave. Damon's hand hovered near his weapon. Cop and criminal, seconds from shootout in a designer kitchen. Then Damon laughed and looked at Nia like something he'd scraped off his shoe. Yeah. Okay. Enjoy your gangster, baby. He backed toward the door. When this is over, you'll be deported so fast you won't remember what Seoul looked like. And no one will care. You're just another black whore who thought she mattered. The door slammed and silence flooded back. Nia's legs gave out. She would have hit the floor if Ji-hoon hadn't caught her, his hands steady. They were careful, nothing like Damon's. I can't, her voice broke. I can't do this anymore. I know. She looked up at him. This man who'd broken fingers for her. Who'd read Nigerian novels to understand where she came from. Who used her but never lied about it. And she kissed him. Desperate and angry and terrified. Kissing him like he was air and she'd been drowning for 2 years. He kissed back like a man who'd forgotten warmth existed. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Ji-hoon touched her face gently, where the bruise was fading. He touches you again, he dies. It was not a threat. It was a promise. He's a cop. I don't care if he's the president. He dies. And Nia believed him. They didn't talk about the kiss. For 2 days, they circled each other, careful and uncertain, hyper-aware of every breath and glance. Then Ji-hoon left another file on her bed. Police reports. Internal affairs documents. Witness statements. All dated 3 years ago. Detective Park used excessive force during the arrest of suspect Kwame Johnson. Pattern of evidence tampering in cases involving Black and Southeast Asian suspects. Investigation closed due to insufficient evidence and departmental pressure. At the bottom, Ji-hoon's handwritten note. He didn't save you from deportation. He destroyed you first, then sold you the glue. Check page 7. Page 7 was her original immigration summons. The one that had driven her into Damon's arms. Requesting officer, Detective D. Park. The papers scattered across the floor. Nia couldn't breathe. The room spun, walls closing like a fist around her heart. He'd broken her first. Then appeared as her savior and made her grateful for fixing what he'd destroyed. She was going to be sick. Ji-hoon found her on the balcony at sunrise. She hadn't slept or cried. She'd moved past tears into some numb space where feeling seemed impossible. My mother died believing she deserved her suffering. He stood beside her, not touching. Eyes on Seoul's awakening skyline. A Korean man promised to marry her, but he got her pregnant instead and abandoned her when I was born. She spent 20 years being invisible and disposable. She killed herself when I was 15. Ji-hoon. I'm not better than Damon. I'm worse in different ways. I've killed people, ruined lives, and built an empire on fear. He finally looked at her. Something raw in his expression. Almost human. But I won't lie to you about what I am. That's all I can offer. Honesty. And safety, for as long as I can provide it. That's more than he ever gave you. Why do you care? Because someone should have cared for my mother. His jaw tightened. Someone should have seen what was happening. Someone should have been honest instead of cruel. I can't save her. But maybe, he stopped. He couldn't finish. Maybe you can save me, Nia whispered. Maybe we can save each other. She reached for his hand and he took it. For the first time in 2 years, Nia felt solid ground beneath her feet. Damon came with a warrant the next day. There were 8 officers. It was a full tactical raid. They tore through the penthouse like locusts, ripping drawers, smashing vases, searching for evidence Ji-hoon had hidden months ago. They found nothing. But they took Nia anyway. She's an accessory to organized crime, Damon announced. Handcuffs cold against her wrists. You have the right to remain silent. Ji-hoon stood perfectly still, his ace blank. But his eyes burned with fury that made even the tactical team step back. Don't, Nia mouthed. If he fought, they'd kill him. Or lock him away forever. She saw the exact moment he made his choice and saw his hands unclench. She saw him step back, letting them take her. The holding cell smelled like disinfectant and despair. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead, harsh and unforgiving. The door opened and Damon entered alone. He wasn't in uniform. Just jeans and t-shirt, looking like the man she'd once loved. You fucked him, didn't you? He spat. My black whore fell for the gangster. That's almost poetic. The slur hit different now. Now that she understood what she'd always been to him. A mere tool, never human. You were supposed to be grateful, Nia. He crouched in front of her. I gave you everything. Visa. Apartment. Purpose. And you thank me by spreading your legs for. You never loved me. She shot at him. Her voice was stronger than she felt. I was just a long-term operation. Damon's smile was slow. Proud, almost. Finally figuring it out? Took you long enough. How long did you plan this? Since I saw your name on the deportation list. He stood and paced. Beautiful black woman, desperate and vulnerable. Working for Seoul's biggest crime boss. You checked every box. Poor, black and desperate enough to do anything to stay. He laughed. Even love me. The abuse? Call it control. I couldn't have you thinking you had options. So, I had to keep you dependent and grateful. It's easier with your kind anyway, you're used to taking shit and saying thank you. The casual racism in his voice, like discussing the weather, made something inside her turn to steel. Did you ever see me as human? Damon considered this. No, he said finally. You were a means to an end. A useful tool. Nothing personal. Just business. Everything's personal, Nia said. The door opened. 2 guards stepped in. Time's up, detective. Damon leaned close. And whispered against her ear, when they deport you, and they will, remember you threw away your only protection. Enjoy Nigeria. I hear it's really shitty this time of year. Then he was gone. Nia sat in that cell, under those harsh lights, and felt something inside her crystallize into pure rage. Ji-hoon turned himself in 6 hours later. Not for trafficking, not racketeering but for murder. Cold case from 2019. Yakuza enforcer found dead in Busan. Nia was released immediately. Taesung met her at processing, face carved from stone. Boss wants you gone. Out of Korea. Tonight. I've arranged. He confessed to protect me. He confessed because you made him weak. Taesung's voice cracked, barely. You've destroyed everything. His operation. His reputation. His control. So yeah, he protected you. And now we're all fucked. Happy? Where is he? Seoul Detention Center. Maximum security. You can't see him. You can't help him. All you can do is leave before his enemies find you. His enemies? Or you? Taesung's expression shifted. What? You're making a deal, aren't you? With Damon. Trading Ji-hoon's empire for immunity. Silence confirmed it. But first I have to disappear, Nia continued. Voice steady. Because as long as I'm alive, Ji-hoon has something to fight for. Something to come back for. I'm the loose end. Taesung pulled his gun. I'm sorry. Really. But business is business. Her phone buzzed. An unknown number had sent a text. East parking garage. Level 3. Now. Run. JH. Nia ran. Level 3 was deserted. Fluorescent lights flickered. Concrete pillars cast long shadows. 4 men waited. They were Taesung's crew, guns drawn. Nothing personal, one said. But you're a liability. And the boss isn't here to protect you anymore. They moved forward. Nia grabbed the screwdriver from the toolbox on the nearest car. Muscle memory from years of cleaning, being invisible and being underestimated. The first man reached for her. She drove it through his throat. The screwdriver went in at an angle, hit something solid, and kept going. Hot blood sprayed across her face. His eyes went wide. Mouth opening and closing like fish. He made this wet gurgling sound. She yanked the screwdriver out. He collapsed, hands clutching his throat. Blood poured between his fingers. So much blood. The second man raised his gun, but she threw herself sideways. The shot went wide. She crashed into him while he was adjusting aim. They went down hard. His head cracked against concrete. She stabbed him in the eye and felt it pop. She felt the screwdriver sink deeper and felt him thrashing beneath her, screaming, until he stopped. The third and fourth came together. One grabbed her hair and yanked her back. She twisted and drove her elbow into his nose. His cartilage crunched. He staggered. The fourth tackled her. They hit the ground hard and all the air left her lungs. His hands closed around her throat. She couldn't breathe. Her vision was going dark at the edges. Her hand found car keys on the ground, heavy keychain. She swung wild and caught him in the temple. He loosened just enough. She swung again. And again. And again. Until his hands went slack and bits of blood splattered across concrete. Until he stopped moving. Nia rolled off him and lay there gasping. She was covered in blood, theirs, not hers. She'd killed 3 people. 3. She threw up on the concrete, hands shaking so hard she couldn't stand. When she finally got up, legs wobbling, she understood exactly what Ji-hoon's world cost. Everything. Like this video if you're on Team Nia. Comment, should she run or finish this? Let's debate. Before we continue, can I ask you a question? Where in the world are you watching from? Comment below because we'd love to know how far these stories travel, and hit that subscribe button because what's coming next will shock you. Ji-hoon escaped prison in a riot that killed 6 guards and injured 20. The news called it gang violence and orchestrated Yakuza attack paying old debts. They weren't wrong. He'd confessed to get arrested. He needed inside access and to get close to people who owed blood debts. Close to resources Damon didn't know existed. One night. One riot. One disappeared Mafia boss. Seoul exploded. Damon's career imploded faster. Internal Affairs discovered he'd been sleeping with a key witness. They discovered falsified reports and manufactured evidence, and everything he'd buried crawled back screaming. His bosses abandoned him. Colleagues turned their backs. His badge was suspended and he went under investigation. His career finished. And Ji-hoon's people found Nia first. They offered escape, a new identity in a new country. Safety purchased with Ji-hoon's remaining resources. Where is he? She asked. The driver, a woman with scarred hands and kind eyes, studied her. Going after Detective Park. It's a futile mission. Half the force wants him dead. The other half wants him arrested. He won't survive the week. Take me to him. Miss. Now. She found Ji-hoon in Gangnam's safe house, surrounded by what remained of his loyal crew. 10 people. The empire was reduced to a living room. He looked up when she entered. Something flickered across his face, relief? Fear? Both? You're supposed to be on a plane to Singapore. Fuck Singapore. She crossed the room. Everyone was watching, not caring. What's the plan? There is no plan. I'm ending this. You're leaving. Not without you. Nia. Shut up. She grabbed his face and made him look at her. I've spent 2 years being told what to do, where to go and who to be. I'm done. This is my choice. We do this together, or I call Damon right now and tell him where you are. The gray-haired woman in the corner laughed. I like her, boss. She's got teeth. This is insane, Ji-hoon said. Everything about us is insane. Nia pulled out her phone. But I know how to end this. Damon thinks I'm weak and broken. He'll come if I call. Especially now, his career's destroyed. He'll want revenge. You want to make him walk into a trap? No. She met his eyes. I want him to walk into his confession. Recorded. Everything. Wire me up. Let him brag. Then, she paused. Then I finish it. Understanding dawned across Ji-hoon's face. You want to kill him yourself. I need to. For me. Not for you. For me. Ji-hoon pulled out his gun and handed it to her. Then make it count. Their old apartment looked smaller and shabbier. Like returning to the crime scene after the tape came down. Nia stood in the center of the living room. Wire taped to her chest. Ji-hoon in the car outside, listening through earbuds. His crew positioned themselves throughout the building. Exits covered. Her phone rang. You wanted to talk. Damon's voice was sharp and suspicious. Talk. In person at our place. Just us. I have information on Ji-hoon. Where he's hiding. Everything. Long silence. She heard him calculating. No wires. No weapons. I search you. Fine. He arrived 40 minutes later, alone but armed. He patted her down thoroughly, professional and invasive, but missed the wire taped between her breasts. He was too confident and too certain she was still the broken girl he'd molded. So, he settled onto their couch. Where they'd watched movies. Where he'd hit her the first time and apologized with flowers. What do you want to say? The truth. She sat across from him. Hands folded. You never saved me. You destroyed me first. Then offered rescue I never needed. Damon's smile was slow. And you figured this out all by yourself? Or did your gangster boyfriend spell it out? Why did you do it? Really? Career advancement. He leaned back. Relaxed. Your boyfriend, sorry, ex-boyfriend, runs the biggest organization in Seoul. You were my ticket to detective first grade. Maybe even lieutenant. Everything else was just maintenance. Including the abuse? Control. Simple psychology. He shrugged. How long have you been doing this to me? Since I saw your name on the deportation list. Knowing you were black and working for Park Ji-hoon, I knew you were the perfect tool for my plans. He ticked off fingers. You were poor, black, and desperate enough to do anything to stay in Korea. You'd do anything. He laughed. And you did. So convincingly. It made my job easy. There it was. Full confession. Clear and recorded. One more question. Her voice didn't shake. Did you ever see me as a person? Not really. I was just using you. That's what your kind is good for anyway, being used. My kind, she repeated. You know what I mean. Yeah. She reached behind the couch cushion. Fingers closing around cold metal. I do. She pulled the gun, Ji-hoon's gun. The choice he promised. Damon's eyes widened. Nia. She shot him 3 times. Center mass. The way he'd taught her at the range 2 years ago. Always double tap, he'd said. Make sure they stay down. So she gave him 3. Once for each year he'd stolen. He collapsed. Not dead yet. He was gasping, blood spreading across his shirt. The door burst open. Ji-hoon entered, gun drawn, his eyes scanning for threats. Damon was on the floor, still breathing, barely. Ji-hoon knelt beside him and looked at Nia. You didn't have to. Yes, I did. She stood and walked over, looking down at the man who'd destroyed her. He needed to know I wasn't his anymore. I wasn't anyone's. That I was mine. Damon coughed blood. He tried to speak. You're nothing, just a... She shot him again. Wrong, she said. I'm everything. Ji-hoon stood and handed her a cloth for her hands. We need to leave. The police will be here in 10 minutes. Good. Let them come. They'll find the wire. The recording. Everything. Taesung? Already handled, the gray-haired woman said from the doorway. Won't be a problem. They disappeared into Seoul's night. The empire collapsed. Half the crew was arrested. The other half scattered. But Nia and Ji-hoon vanished like smoke. 1 year later. They were in Lagos, Nigeria. It was the dry season. Children laughed in a classroom where Nia taught English to kids who looked like her. Who saw her as human. She taught them more than grammar. She taught them that being black in Asia doesn't mean being invisible. It means being unforgettable. It means taking up space unapologetically. It means being seen on your own terms. She was free for the first time in her life. Then a package arrived. Inside, plane ticket to Busan. Note in familiar handwriting. If you come, I can't promise safety. I can't promise clean. I can't even promise we survive the year. But I promise the truth. Always the truth. The choice is yours. It always was. JH. P.S. I'm scared you won't come. I'm more scared you will. Either way, I'll wait. Nia stood in her small apartment, ticket in one hand, note in other. Seoul felt like a lifetime ago, like a nightmare she'd woken from. But Ji-hoon. He'd been honest when everyone else lied and protected her when everyone else used her. He'd given her choices when everyone else stole them. And she loved him. Not the desperate love born from gratitude and fear. Real love. The kind that saw all the broken pieces and chose them anyway. She packed a bag. Busan was colder than Lagos. It was wetter too. The address on Ji-hoon's note led to a small apartment overlooking the harbor. Nothing like the penthouse or the empire. Just a door. And behind it, uncertainty. She knocked. Footsteps approached, then hesitated. Then the door opened. Ji-hoon stood there. He was older somehow. There was a scar above his eyebrow that hadn't been there before. He stared at her like she was a ghost. Like he'd stopped believing she'd come. You're here, he said. Stupid. Obvious. I'm here. I can't promise. I know what you can't promise. She stepped inside. Let the door close behind her. Promise what you can. He pulled her close carefully, like she might shatter. Truth. Always. And this, whatever this is, for as long as we both survive it. That's enough. He kissed her. Soft at first, then desperate. Like a man who'd forgotten how to hope. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, she touched the new scar on his face. Prison. Prison. Worth it? He looked at her. Every second. The apartment was small. There was one bedroom, a kitchen barely big enough for 2 people. It had a view of the harbor where fishing boats bobbed in the morning light. No empire. No crew. No power. Just them. I teach now, he said. Self-defense classes. To women. Immigrants mostly. Filipino. Vietnamese. Nigerian. He smiled slightly. Figure I should do something useful with all the violence I know. I like that. What about you? The teaching in Lagos? I love it. The kids, her voice caught. They see me. Really see me. Not as a threat or fetish or tool. Just as their teacher. As a human. You could stay there. Be safe and free. I could. She took his hand, and that's when she felt it. The ring. A simple silver band on his left hand. It looked worn out, like he'd been wearing it for months. She froze and stared at it. Ji-hoon followed her gaze. His expression shifted, vulnerable in a way she'd never seen. It was my mother's, he said quietly. The only thing I have of hers. I started wearing it after you left, a reminder that some people are worth protecting. Worth changing for. He paused. Worth waiting for. Her throat tightened. Ji-hoon. I'm not asking you for anything, he continued. I know what I am. What I've done. But if you stay, if you choose to stay, I want you to know that you'd be choosing someone who's already chosen you. Completely. No conditions. No lies. She looked at this man. This broken, honest, impossible man who destroyed an empire because she mattered more. I'd rather be free with you, she whispered. Even if it's complicated. Even if it's dangerous. It will be. People are still looking for me. For us. Let them look. He kissed her again. Slower this time. Like they had all the time in the world even though they both knew they didn't. They stood in that small apartment overlooking Busan's harbor. Two broken people who destroyed everything to find each other. No empire. No guarantees. No fairy tale ending. Just the truth. And choice. And love that cost everything but gave back more. Outside, rain began to fall. Soft at first, then harder. Inside, Ji-hoon made tea. Mia unpacked her bag. They moved around each other in the small space, learning the rhythm of ordinary life. I have nightmares, she said quietly. About that parking garage. About Damon. About the blood. Me too. Different nightmares. Same screaming. Does it get better? I don't know. But maybe we figure it out together. She nodded. Together. That night, they lay in bed listening to rain on the roof. His arm around her. Her head on his chest. Two hearts beating in the dark. Her hand rested on her stomach. A small, unconscious gesture. The pregnancy test was still in her bag. Tucked in the side pocket where she'd hidden it before leaving Lagos. Two pink lines she'd stared at for an hour before deciding to come. She'd tell him tomorrow. Or maybe the day after. When she was ready. When they were ready. Because this choice, was hers too. Thank you, she whispered into the darkness. For what? For seeing me. When everyone else looked through me. Thank you for staying, he said. When leaving would have been easier. She kissed him, slow and certain. Her hand was still resting on her stomach where her secret baby from a one-night stand born out of desperation to be touched by a man, grew in secret. Some things are worth staying for. The rain continued, constant and real. And in that sound, a promise, some scars become foundations. Some endings are beginnings. Some love costs everything, and that's exactly what makes it worth having. Because the bravest thing you can do is choose yourself. And then choose to share that self with someone who truly sees you. Even when that choice is terrifying. Even when that choice changes everything. So did Nia make the right choice? Would you take that ticket? And wait, did you catch that final detail? Go back and watch again. Drop your answer in the comments, I want to hear every opinion. Was that ending empowering or problematic? Should she have told him immediately? Let's debate. If this story wrecked you emotionally, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell so you never miss our next story. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, someone who needs to know that choosing yourself is the bravest thing you can do. Comment your theories. What happens next? Will they survive? Will she tell him about the secret baby? Will his enemies find them? See you in the next one. Stay brave. Stay free. Stay you.